USA Today's Tom Pelissero joins us from Vikings camp. Tom, oh, how things change in 1 week. Last week, AD is going on a Twitter rant. Now it's all unicorns and rainbows. What was your biggest takeaway from this?
Well, I thought the most telling thing was who was and was not at the podium today. We didn't hear from the Vikings owners, Mark Wilf. We didn't hear from general manager Rick Spielman, who took a lot of heat when the Vikings briefly reinstated Peterson in September. This was Adrian Peterson and Mike Zimmer, which says to me two things. Number one, Zimmer was the most consistent and strongest supporter that Peterson had within the organization, even at a time that publicly and maybe even among sponsors, it was not particularly popular to stand behind Adrian Peterson. And number two, the Vikings want to make this about football. This was the opportunity they'd been waiting for Adrian Peterson to stand up in front of everyone, talk about his son, talk about the process he went through, talk about all the acrimony, and then try to get all of us off his lawn.
You mentioned there were some people that weren't present there at the podium today. Is there still some bad blood between Adrian and members of the Vikings brass?
Well, here's what we know. I asked Adrian Peterson directly, if it were up to you, would you prefer to be on a different team right now? He said no. I'm happy to be with the Minnesota Vikings. But what's he really going to say? He reported here to Minnesota. Would he prefer to be elsewhere? The answer is yes. Are there people in the organization he feels do not have his back or didn't during his ordeal? Yes, namely COO Kevin Warren. And he's still not happy about the fact that his contract, which has 3 years remaining, does not include any guaranteed money. At this point, the Vikings have not approached Peterson's agent about redoing his deal, but I did think it was interesting that Mike Zimmer, when he was asked about the contract, wouldn't get into details but said, I always fight for my players. If at some point the Vikings do address Peterson's contract, perhaps guarantee some money in 2016, you could bet that Zimmer's involved.
Well, even if they don't address the contract, he still gets $12.75 million this year if he makes it to week 1 and plays. Thanks a lot, Tom. We appreciate the report.